Luxury cruise ships may look like places of relaxation and comfort, but when it comes to pirate attacks, they're fully armed. From ear-splitting speakers to high-powered water cannons, get ready as we dive into what happens when pirates attack a luxury cruise ship. Piracy has been around for thousands of years. In fact, as soon as humans started sailing, pirate attacks almost immediately followed. Some of the earliest documented pirates were the infamous Sea Peoples, mysterious raiders who terrorized coastal cities across the Mediterranean as far back as 12th century BCE. These ancient pirates set the stage for a long history of seafaring robbery. Fast forward nearly 3,000 years to the 17th century, when the golden age of piracy emerged, with fearsome fellows like Blackbeard Captain Kidd and Calico Jack dominating the seas, plundering merchant ships and striking fear into sailors worldwide. You might presume that piracy isn't as great a threat in the 21st century, but sadly, that's not the case. Between 2000 and 2020, there have been a staggering 6,790 pirate attacks on ships. That accounts to nearly 350 each year. So what's behind this recent resurgence in piracy? The answer lies in a few key hotspots where high-volume shipping routes, weak law enforcement, and economic instability have created the perfect conditions for piracy to thrive. Many of the most active piracy regions are strategically located along some of the world's busiest shipping lanes. For instance, the Gulf of Aden, which connects the Red Sea to the Arabian Sea, is a critical route for vessels traveling between Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Similarly, the Malacca Strait, positioned between the Malay Peninsula and Indonesia, is another vital waterway that sees heavy maritime traffic. The combination of high-value shipping passing through these narrow, congested areas makes them prime targets for pirates. Yet this piracy rebirth is also down to weak law enforcement and economic instability in these regions. Take Somalia, where the collapse of the government in 1991 led to a lawless state with warlords and militias taking control of key coastal areas, which pirates then used as bases of operation. The lack of effective governance left a vacuum where pirates could operate unchecked. To worsen the problem, illegal fishing by foreign vessels has depleted Somalia's fish stocks, leaving local fishermen without livelihoods, pushing many to turn to piracy as a more profitable alternative. Okay, so we've uncovered the reasons for the recent resurgence in piracy, as well as whereabout these callous criminals operate nowadays, but how exactly do they go about attacking large ships in the first place? Typically, pirates use what are known as motherships, and no, I'm not talking about the intergalactic space vessel kind. Instead, these are previously captured boats like merchant ships or fishing vessels. Motherships are used to carry pirates, stores, fuel, and skiffs, while their increased fuel capacity and durability allows pirates to operate over a large area. Then when a target ship is sighted, they'll deploy the skiffs. These small, fast motorized boats allow pirates to close in on slower-moving vessels. As the skiffs approach, pirates will often fire warning shots from AK-47s or machine guns aiming at the ship's bridge or engine room. The goal is to intimidate the crew and force the ship to slow down or stop. In some cases, pirates will escalate the situation by firing RPGs, damaging the ship's hull or propulsion systems to force it to a halt. If pirates manage to get close enough or force the ship to a stop, they'll then attempt to board the vessel. Sounds like quite a task to crawl up a whole cruise ship considering their freeboard height. The distance between the waterline and the deck can be greater than 75 feet. Yet pirates often come stocked with long, lightweight ladders, knotted climbing ropes, or long hooked poles to help them climb up the ship's sides.
Peter, this doesn't seem safe.
Yeah, I'm afraid I might.
Once aboard the ship, pirates will make sure to take passengers and crew hostage, securing them in one area to prevent resistance. After the captured vessel is locked down, they'll then search the ship, raiding valuable cargo to take and sometimes even holding the crew for ransom with the aim of receiving million-dollar sums from the shipping lines or governments. Sounds like light work for those pesky pirates, right? However, it's safe to say things rarely run so smoothly for them. As the threat of piracy has continued to grow through the 21st century, cruise ships have had to bulk up their defensive measures to protect themselves from pirate attacks. So how exactly do they do it? After all, cruise ships are known for being big, bulky vessels that primarily serve as luxury floating holiday resorts for the hundreds or even thousands of passengers on board. The best defense for cruise ships against pirate attacks is to make sure they never cross paths with the pirates in the first place. Instead of sailing through high-risk areas like the Gulf of Guinea or the Gulf of Aden, most popular cruise routes stick to the Caribbean islands or the Mediterranean, places known for their sunny beaches and scenic vistas, not the threat of pirates. Still, that's not to say cruise ships always avoid choppy waters. On rare occasions, a cruise ship may have to sail between the Red Sea and the Mediterranean. Unfortunately for those on board, that means the ship has no choice but to enter the pirate-rich waters of the Gulf of Aden. When cruise ships do need to venture through these high-risk waters, they can rely on resources like the International Maritime Bureau to help keep them safe. This organization tracks piracy incidents worldwide, providing up-to-date reports on which areas are most vulnerable, allowing cruise ships to plan their routes around pirate-prone zones. If all that isn't enough to steer clear of any pirates, then cruise ships have another trick to stay out of trouble. Many of these vessels use forward-looking infrared, or FLIR, which can detect heat signatures from objects even in complete darkness and through low visibility conditions like fog or glare. Even more impressively, these cameras can pick up heat signatures up to 6 miles away, giving ships a clear head start in spotting pirate boats before they get too close. Even with advanced technology and careful route planning, cruise ships also must ensure strict safety procedures are met to limit the chances of a pirate attack. In March 2025, for example, the Queen Anne, a luxury Cunard cruise ship, was en route to the Philippines through the Sulu-Sela BC, a notorious piracy hotspot. Before entering this high-risk area, the ship's captain made an announcement informing passengers that they would be operating under a heightened security alert while navigating these waters. As part of the security measures, passengers were told that the external promenade deck would be closed overnight and only essential lighting would remain on to minimize visibility. To stay even further under the radar, passengers were asked to turn off lights in their rooms and draw their curtains. Yep, this ship went into a complete blackout to stay out of sight of pirates. Fortunately for passengers on luxury liners, if those preventative measures don't help ships avoid pirate attacks, they're just the beginning of the well-planned defenses these ships have in place. When you look at a cruise ship, what's the first thing you notice? For many of us, it'll be the stupendous size of these vast vessels. The longest cruise ships in the world stretch well over 1,000 feet, making them massive by any standard. And let's be honest, you wouldn't blame pirates for keeping their distance from such imposing giants. But if you're still unsure just how powerful and destructive these ships can be, just ask those on board the Naiguata in March 2020. The Naiguata, a Venezuelan coastal patrol boat, reportedly rammed the RCGS Resolute, a 400-foot-long cruise ship, after it had ordered the vessel to change direction off the coast of Venezuela. The result? The cruise ship sustained only minor damage, but the Naiguata, well, it rapidly sank to the depths of the sea. That's right, a cruise ship accidentally sank a patrol boat. Just imagine the damage these vessels could cause if a pirate skiff got in their way. As we've established, cruise ships tend to be pretty big, but given their size, you'd assume they'd struggle in a race against the smaller, more nimble pirate vessels. But you'd be wrong. Cruise ships actually rely on their speed as one of their primary tactics to evade pirate attacks. Many cruise ships can reach speeds of over 30 miles per hour. That's faster than most pirate skiffs, which typically travel at around 25 miles per hour. In 2008, passengers aboard the Nautica cruise ship got a first-hand demonstration of this tactic. While sailing off the coast of Yemen in the Gulf of Aden, Captain Joritza Brejcic spotted two small skiffs just half a mile away. Immediately noticing the skiffs were pursuing the ship, Brejcic changed course and then accelerated Nautica to its top speed of 27 miles per hour. Despite one of the skiffs getting as close as 1,000 feet and firing 8 rifle shots, the Nautica's speed enabled it to pull away from the pirate boats, and after a 20-minute chase, the cruise ship successfully evaded the attack. When speed alone isn't enough to evade a pirate attack, cruise ships can also employ a zigzag maneuver, making unpredictable turns that disrupt the pirates' pursuit. That was exactly the thinking of the SS Oceanic, which encountered pirates in the Gulf of Aden in 2010. By constantly moving unpredictably, the SS Oceanic forced the pirates to continually adjust their course, slowing them down and creating more distance between the ship and the attackers. The frequent change in direction also made it difficult for pirates to maintain accurate aim, whether using AK-47s, machine guns, or RPGs. The one downside? All that manic moving is bound to cause bucket loads of seasickness. Though speed and zigzag maneuvers provide cruise ships with a crucial edge in evading pirate attacks, these tactics alone might not always be enough to prevent an assault, especially if pirates close in quickly. That's when non-lethal deterrents come into play. At first glance, long-range acoustic devices, or LRADs, may just look like oversized TV satellite dishes mounted on the sides of the ship, but they're a vital part of the cruise ship's defense system against piracy. LRADs are specialized loudspeakers typically found at either side of a cruise ship's deck. At first glance, passengers on board might think these supersized speakers are the perfect device to get the party going on the ship. In reality, though, there's no chance you'll ever hear these things blasting any toe-tapping tunes. Instead, when a pirate vessel comes too close, the LRAD is used to broadcast a loud verbal warning to the approaching boat. But if the pirates aren't deterred and continue their advance, the LRAD kicks into high gear, sending out an excruciatingly high-pitched screech meant to make pirates think twice about getting any closer. A bit of sound, what's the big deal? However, these devices can reach up to a painful 160 decibels, around as loud as a jet airliner taking off. So, just how effective are they? Well, it's been said that pirates hit by the LRAD are likely to suffer excruciating headaches and ear pain so devastating that they'd struggle to hear or even see. If for some strange reason pirates refuse to get the message and keep coming straight for LRAD blasting cruise ships, the sound can become deafening, quite literally, leading to permanent hearing damage. Yikes.
Oh, come on! You gotta admit this is cool!
Back in 2005, pirates found out the hard way just how effective LRADs are when they attempted to attack the Seabourn Spirit cruise ship. Sailing about 70 miles off the coast of Somalia, the ship was suddenly pursued by 2 pirate skiffs which opened fire with AK-47s and RPGs, trying to force the ship to stop. Then the Seabourn Spirit's crew activated its secret weapon, the LRAD, pointing it straight at the would-be hijackers. Thankfully, the ear-piercing sound sent the pirates fleeing in the opposite direction, unable to withstand the blast of noise. Talk about a sound strategy. While LRADs are an effective strategy for sending pirates off in the opposite direction, cruise ships have another sneaky defensive weapon that comes into play when any potential hijackers get even closer to boarding. The P-trap is made up of a set of long, thin steel wires attached to a steel frame either side to the ship, which extend out for 30 feet. As the pirates close in on the vessel, these wires are released just under the water surface, creating an invisible trap for pirate skiffs. Take a look. You see, as soon as they enter the P-trap zone, their propellers become jammed as they get tangled in the steel wires, causing their engines to stall. As the pirates try to clear the propeller and get the speedboat's engine started again, they'll lose precious time, allowing the cruise ship to make a getaway. Regardless, even if pirates are able to mount another attack, guess what'll happen? Yep, their propeller will get jammed in the P-trap before they're able to mount an offensive on the cruise ship. Essentially, the P-trap acts like the ship's very own personal force field, preventing pirates from ever getting close enough to succeed in their attack. Sly and subtle as P-trap systems may be, some cruise ships' anti-piracy measures are a little more rudimentary, to say the least. Introducing the water cannon. Though the name might conjure up memories of fun kiddie water fights in the summer, these bad boys are seriously effective defenses against pirates. This device delivers a powerful stream of water that'll literally blow away any pirates trying to board the ship, while the sheer amount of water descending down can also quickly fill the pirate skiffs, slowing them down or potentially even sinking the small vessels. One such water cannon is the Unifier AB Force 80. This thing can spray some 1,350 gallons of water per minute over a distance of 300 feet. That means you could shoot water out of this thing that'd almost travel the entire distance of a football field. Even more worryingly for pirates, they pack a punch. With 145 pounds per square inch of pressure, these water cannons are also about as powerful as a fire hose. Jeez. That thing could blast you into next week. In 2009, the MSC Melody, an Italian cruise ship, proved just how effective water cannons can be when it was attacked by pirates near Seychelles, some 200 miles off the coast. As pirates fired shots from their skiff and tried to board using grappling hooks and ladders, the crew swiftly fired up the water cannons, helping fend pirates off the side of the cruise ship. Water, wickedly effective solution. Speaking of water, another innovative defense that some cruise ships have adopted is the anti-piracy curtain. Developed by Japanese shipping company NYK Line, this clever mechanism consists of a series of hoses that are dropped off the sides of the vessel. These ships' existing firefighting systems fill the hoses with seawater. Once filled, the hoses spray water in unpredictable gyrations, creating a forceful, chaotic seawater barrier. To keep the hoses in place, weights are attached at the ends, ensuring they remain just above any pirate skiffs that approach the side of the ship. The idea is simple but effective. The constant stream of seawater will knock pirates overboard if they try to haul themselves up, while it will also quickly fill up the pirate skiffs. Beyond the practical effects, the anti-piracy curtain also serves as a psychological weapon. The hoses, which are bright yellow, are highly visible from a distance, and the hope is that pirates seeing the dramatic display will think twice before approaching a vessel with such a dynamic and unpredictable defense. It's fair to say cruise ships think outside the box when dealing with pirate attacks, and this next defensive strategy certainly is out of the ordinary. Some ships deploy mannequins around high-visibility areas like the bridge or outer decks. Yes, you heard that right, mannequins. It may seem like a strange and pretty pointless defensive measure, but these dummy guards serve as a psychological deterrent. From a distance, it's nearly impossible to tell the difference between a living, breathing armed guard and one of these lifelike mannequins dressed in a security uniform. For pirates, the sight of a ship filled with menacing-looking guards gives the illusion of a heavily armed vessel, leading them to rethink their approach and change course pronto. Talk about a model defense. While non-lethal deterrents like mannequins, water cannons, and LRADs play a vital role in defending cruise ships from pirate attacks, for some vessels, these measures just aren't enough. To fortify the physical defenses of vessels, razor wire barriers are sometimes installed around the outer edges of a cruise ship's handrails. To say this stuff is dangerous would be an understatement. While barbed wire will scrape the skin, leaving some nasty scratches, razor wire's sharp edges will easily slice through any intruder's skin like a knife through butter. Take a closer look and you'll see this wire consists of sharp blades with multiple piercing cutting edges. So let's just say that anyone unlucky enough to get entangled in this razor wire will be in pieces, quite literally. If skin-flaying razor wire wasn't grisly enough, cruise ships operating in the most pirate-prone waters can take even more menacing measures to deter would-be attackers. Any guesses as to what those are? As much as I'd love to say these vast vessels shoot out bursts of fire from the bow, I'm not sure how thrilled passengers on board would be about seeing a 1,000-foot flame coming out of the ship's front. Nope, instead the real menacing measure I'm talking about is armed security. Some cruise ships that are especially weary of sailing through dangerous waters can hire armed guards to add further protection to the ship. Effective as it is for ships to have their own personal security force, it's considered a last resort. After all, firing back at pirates can escalate any violence, potentially leading to a straight shootout. And considering cruise ships carry thousands of passengers on board, that's not ideal. Still, when a cruise ship's crew and passengers' lives are at stake, it's a necessary protection plan. For example, the Viking Sun, a luxury cruise ship with a 930 passenger capacity, contracted armed guards while sailing through the high-risk waters of the Gulf of Aden. They employed some steely-looking personnel from the British maritime security firm Solis Global, one of the top companies offering armed protection to ships. Similarly, Seagull Maritime, a highly regarded ship security provider, ensures that their vessels are equipped with top-notch, beefed-up defenses. With security teams like these on board, it's clear no pirates would want to mess with these guys. Don't just take my word for it though, as we've already seen the MSC Melody use water cannons to ward off pirates back in 2009. However, the final nail in the coffin for those pesky pirates was the use of armed guards. After the Marine Marauders fired some 200 shots at the MSC Melody, guards returned fire, spraying rounds into the air and sea, sending the attackers scurrying into the distant horizon. Now that we've covered all the preventative and defensive measures cruise ships use to avoid and, if necessary, deal with pirate attacks, the big question remains: how effective are they at repelling pirates? Well, pretty darn effective is the answer. In the 21st century, there have been just 6 notable pirate attacks on cruise ships. Even more impressively, none of these pirate attacks were successful. Important as cruise ships' preventative and defensive measures are to these startling statistics, they're far from the only factor at play. The truth is, cruise ships simply aren't the most desirable targets for pirates. First, these massive vessels can carry over 10,000 passengers and crew on board. With pirate crews typically numbering around 6 or 7, it doesn't take a math whiz to figure out that securing a ship with thousands of people on board would be a towering, nearly impossible task for any pirate gang. But there's more. While cruise ships are often luxurious with passenger possessions like jewelry, electronics, and cash on board, they don't carry container loads of easily accessible high-value cargo. And considering that pirates are looking to get as much money as possible in as quick and efficient way as possible, the risk and reward from a cruise ship attack just isn't worth it. Saying that, cruise ships aren't the only vessels that have faced pirate attacks. Between 2020 and 2024, the International Maritime Bureau recorded 678 pirate attacks on vessels of all types. Cargo ships were the most frequently targeted, and in 2020 alone, these ships were involved in 166 pirate attacks, making up a staggering 85% of all pirate incidents that year. And honestly, it's no surprise. Cargo ships are essentially floating treasure chests transporting massive amounts of valuable goods. The largest of these ships carry 8,000 or more containers packed with oil, weapons, electronics, or other high-value products. Pirates see these ships as floating cash cows loaded with loot they can steal and sell on. But it's not just the cargo that makes these ships so tempting for pirates. Many cargo vessels have very small crews, often with just 3 crew members on the smallest ships. Even the largest cargo ships rarely carry more than 30 people. For comparison, that means the largest cargo vessels have just 0.3% of the number of people on board as the largest cruise ships. With so few numbers on board, pirates in just a few skiffs can easily overpower the crew and take control of the vessel. Adding to this, cargo ships often sail through high-risk piracy zones, many of which cruise lines tend to avoid. Take the Gulf of Aden. Though on occasion cruise ships may traverse through these waters, it's a different story for cargo vessels. Unlike cruise ships which sail around the world's most picturesque islands and ports, the job of a cargo ship is transportation. And with many vessels needing to travel through the Suez Canal from the Red Sea to the Mediterranean or vice versa as quickly and efficiently as possible, that means braving the infamous Gulf of Aden. Eek! Okay, so we've established that cargo ships are prime targets for pirates due to the vast amount of lucrative goods on board, the few crew stationed on each ship, and the fact these vessels often traverse through the most treacherous trade routes to reach their destinations. So how exactly do they go about defending themselves from pirate attacks? In truth, many of the anti-piracy methods used by cargo ships are quite similar to those employed by cruise ships. Just like their luxury counterparts, cargo vessels rely on up-to-date piracy reports from the International Maritime Bureau so they can identify which specific stretches of sea are highly active with piracy. This allows them to avoid dangerous waters and plan their routes more effectively. Additionally, cargo ships are equipped with advanced surveillance technology like thermal imaging and radar systems. As we've already seen, these tools help detect suspicious maritime activity around the vessel, allowing the crew to spot potential pirate skiffs or other threats long before they get close. With this early detection, cargo ships can take evasive actions or activate other defensive measures to avoid pirate attacks. One area where cargo ships aren't quite so prepared to defend themselves from pirates, though, is speed. As we've already seen, cruise ships can zoom away from pirates, reaching speeds that sometimes exceed 30 miles per hour, easily outpacing pirate skiffs. Cargo ships, on the other hand, with their bulky build and heavy loads, typically can't travel above 20 miles per hour. That makes them perfect targets for pirates who can quickly close the gap with their fast-moving skiffs. It's like these ships are sitting ducks. Well, incredibly slow-moving ducks. Fortunately, most cargo ships are equipped with emergency measures to respond if pirates do attempt to board. Similarly to cruise ships, these colossal craft have some mechanisms like LRAD, P-traps, and armed security to prevent pirates from hauling themselves on deck. That said, cargo ships also come with some specialized defenses designed specifically to ward off pirate attacks. In 2011, BAE Systems, a British defense company, unveiled a laser system for use on cargo ships to combat piracy. Prototype testing showed that the laser could reach an impressive 1.25 miles. So does it vaporize everything in its path? Not exactly. From a long distance, the laser acts as a visual warning to pirates, signaling that they've entered a high-risk area. At closer ranges, the laser disorients attackers, making it difficult for them to navigate their skiffs or aim their weapons properly. Impressively, BAE Systems even claimed that when fitted on cargo ships, the laser distraction system can integrate with existing ship radar and sensory systems to control the direction and power of the beam, allowing it to fire off lasers automatically. While it's unclear exactly how many cargo ships have deployed these laser defense systems, one thing is certain: any pirate attempting to approach a laser-equipped cargo vessel would likely steer clear once the laser starts firing. I mean, this is a James Bond-worthy deterrent in action.
To the side and stop!
Cargo ships operating in pirate-prone waters may even result to these shocking defenses. Yep, I'm talking about electric fences. Much like traditional barbed or razor wire, electric fences are strategically installed around the outer edges of the cargo ship, providing a high-voltage barrier designed to stop any would-be attackers from boarding. The fences consist of collapsible sections that can be quickly deployed when approaching pirates are detected, allowing the ship to set up an instant defense without interrupting regular operations. Once activated, these fences are powered by an electrical charge, typically 9,000 volts, enough to deliver a strong shock to anyone who tries to climb or cut through the barrier. While this may seem like a lot, it's nowhere near as powerful as a taser, which can deliver up to 50,000 volts of electricity. Still, having 9,000 volts coursing through their body should be enough for pirates to think twice before getting too close. Fair to say, this thing's sure to zap any pirates' hijacking plans. Given the ever-present threat of piracy faced by cargo ships, relying on defensive measures like lasers and electric fences isn't always enough to provide full protection for these sparsely manned vessels. Thankfully, these ships have some big brothers to back them up when needed. The International Recommended Transit Corridor, or IRTC, is a 560-mile-long, 20-mile-wide shipping route through the Gulf of Aden that's patrolled by international naval forces. One of these units is made up of Combined Task Force 151, otherwise known as CTF 151. This multinational naval task force was established in 2009 by the U.S. Navy, aimed at combating piracy and providing security to vessels in pirate-prone regions. CTF-151's operations involved deploying warships and aircraft to patrol high-risk waters, escorting vulnerable vessels, and intercepting pirated ships. These efforts play a critical role in keeping the seas safe for ships navigating these dangerous waters. CTF-151's vessels aren't the only ones responsible for keeping pirated waters safe, however. Similarly, the Operation Atalanta, another counter-piracy operation, was set up by the European Union. Launched in 2008, it shares the same aims as CTF-151, using a force of up to 4 warships and 2 aircraft to patrol the IRTC. You'd think pirates would do everything they could to avoid any such vessels. After all, there's no doubt these boys come heavily armed and have highly trained military personnel on board. That's not even mentioning their speed, with some of these warships capable of gliding through the water at greater than 30 miles per hour. But as foolish as it sounds, some pirates have dared to challenge these formidable vessels. Back in 2012, the Patino, a Spanish warship and the flagship of Operation Atalanta, came under attack. A skiff pulled up alongside the Patino, apparently presuming it was a cargo ship, before the crew opened fire with AK-47s and grenades. Almost immediately, the naval ship returned fire at the pirates, fatally wounding one in the commotion. The skiff, realizing their major mishap, quickly fled. But you think they could really just escape from Operation Atalanta's flagship vessel so easily? Ha! Before long, the Patino, along with a supporting naval helicopter, pursued the pirates, eventually forcing them to surrender. In March 2006, more warships found themselves under attack by pirates, and this time it wasn't even a case of mistaken identity. The USS Cape St. George, a guided missile cruiser, and the USS Gonzales, a guided missile destroyer, were conducting maritime security operations as part of CTF-150, a precursor to CTF-151, that focused on maritime counter-terrorism missions. Suddenly, the 2 warships spotted a suspected pirate vessel towing 2 smaller skiffs. As the Cape St. George and Gonzales sailed closer, they noticed that the pirates were brandishing RPGs, and without hesitation, they opened fire on the Navy ships. Too close for major weapon systems like anti-ship missiles, the 2 American ships instead returned fire with small caliber guns. And needless to say, that stopped the pirate attack in its tracks. 1 pirate was killed in the fracas, while 12 others were captured and taken into custody. And that, folks, is why you should never start a fight with warships. Well, looks like we've sailed through to the end of another video. Can you believe all the defense system ships have in place to prevent pirate attacks? Which one did you find the most mind-blowing? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.